The Factory Must Grow, From Starter to Mega Base. Episode 2, Steam Power. With the 2 water wells in hand, my first stop is to add logistic requests to build up everything I will need for steam power. Once I've done that, I'll just be sitting back and harvesting everything until I have enough stuff to actually build the power plant, and then I will go place it down. While it's building, I intend to go and do some exploration in any case, so this will be mainly a nice quiet session of just chilling and walking around on the map and placing markers and ripping them up because they're wrong and placing more markers and so on. You get the drill. Let's see. I'm going to need boilers and steam engines. This is not going to be the minimal power station that you use during a speed run. I'm going to build up a little bit here so we can get quite a bit of the base done before we have to go back and include more. So this is 8 out of the 40 that I will be doing using my 2 deep water wells. So let's see. I'm going to raise the caps on my incoming resources because I may be picking up quite a lot of things in the process of acquiring resources to build this power station. There we go. And let's let Handy Hand start chunking on that. Also, I think I'm going to not just use bricks for construction of the few things that need bricks. I'm going to set up a path out to the new base, wherever I end up putting it. Let's see, I've got the boilers and the steam engines. I've got the inserters and the belts. Let's see, I'm going to need power poles. Not sure how many of those I'll need, but I'll make 100. I'm going to need a couple of boxes. Let's do those manually. What else do I need here? Let's see, I'm going to need some pipes. Let's say 20 pipes. And I think I'm going to need some underground pipes. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. With the water wells, I tend to put them in close. I may not need them. Oh, let's try it with that. Let's try just not making them this time. Okay, so inserters, pipes. What else will I actually want here? Stone furnaces. We won't need those until I start doing smelting, and I'll jack it up then. Let's not waste resources today. Almost forgot. Got to build the miners. We're going to need 30 of those. Because I am going to start off with a completely full belt. In fact, let's make sure I have enough of that. There we go. Notice I'm using Handy Hands to build these quantities rather than queuing it up. This way, if I want something quickly, I can request it and get it done immediately. And Handy Hands will pick back up the queue of things for me. It also means that it will build what I can build. And if it can't build something, it just will build something else. Oh, come on. I'm pretty sure the algorithm used by Even is to take the total amount I'm dropping and divide it evenly across them, and then if there's anything left over, it comes back. I wonder if I could change that. Settings, mod settings. Let's see, we're looking for even distribution. Per player, maybe? Settings move to inventory screen. There we go. Let's balance out inventories when I do this. That may help out somewhat. I'm going to move this to... Oh, you can do it by megajoules? Interesting. Let's do a fuel limit of... Let's see, items. Let's fill it on up to 200 items if it can store that much. Ammo limit. No, let's leave it at half a stack. I can go ahead and just push this stuff around. Well, that could be why I'm stopping at 25. There we go. Okay, so fuel limit, ammo limit, replace inferior. Yes, let's do that. This all looks good. So if I hit Shift C, it will fill things up, I think. There we go. Now that's putting them to 50. See, I want these to continue as long as possible when I start running across the land to go place my base. So we're getting close here. Since I don't know how many resources I will need to satisfy my entire Handy Hands build, I will just stay here in the burner base in Burner Town. Oh, that's a good name. This is now Burner Town. Add tag. Burner Town. And I'm going to start naming things. So this is the Crash Landing Memorial. Right there. So we'll stay in Burner Town here until we have everything built that I've asked Handy Hands to build for me. And I think that I won't harvest things that I have more than 1,000 of, just to make sure I don't overflow my inventory here. So I'm not going to harvest any more iron, but I will keep feeding it until it's full of stuff. So we've got 10 more mining drills to make, and one more steam engine. No, 16, I guess 5 more steam engines. Okay. And of course a ton of transport belts and a couple more inserters. I guess Handy Hands kind of brings things up in parallel. Whoops. That's not supposed to use wood. Quick check of the fuel there. That's full. So need to keep iron full and get the other guys full. So we're now over 1,000 copper. think in the interest of moving this along, what I'll do is I will just fill these up until I get full once, like I just got there. And I'll call that good. So these are all now full. How about that? It looks like we're closing in on getting Handyhand stuff almost complete. So once I've filled things up, make one last pass on everything, and we'll head off to the west. I'm going to lay down a path. Going to do it too wide, straddling the 0 line. Oops, I'm below 1,000. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to limit this to, say, 5 stacks of stone for now, because we don't really need a huge amount of stone. What we need is a lot of brick. Okay, so I want to see the grid, show tile grid. And we're going to run this all the way from, well, can I start at 0, 0? Or see if placing this is going to cause the spaceship to be taken away. Oh, that's perfect. So now we've got a path. I'm not a fanatic about paths, but this does kind of form an anchor for where things are, and it forms a way for me to get across my map a little bit faster. Okay, so we found a big iron patch and a big coal patch, and another iron patch, another stone patch, and if we zoom out on Infinizoom, oh, let's turn off the grid now. Zoom out on Infinizoom. This is basically what we saw when we were coming in for the crash. So these 3 patches right here look just perfectly set up for me to harvest from them and send them to smelters. I could start my smelters at the 0 line and let the goods flow north-south, and the smelters can grow off to the east back toward the main base. That works out. I kind of like that organization. So here's a coal patch here that will come in handy as fuel for the smelters, and eventually when I'm making plastics it can come into play. Let's see, I seem to remember from our overflight that we had oil somewhere down in this area down here. So if we bring the oil up and around, we can get it together with the coal to make things like plastics. We have extra patches of iron and copper over here on the right that we can pull in for other things. And hopefully as we grow to the east, we won't run into Burner Town over here. Oh, and apparently we have stopped building things. So now's the time to make a decision. I need to run around a little bit more. So here's coal for plastic, and iron 1, stone 1, copper 1. This coal patch is tempting, but I don't like it when they touch. So I may simply erase that coal patch, because we've got the other coal patch out to the west that we saw. Clearly we're going to need to run our path out to the west and then north to get back to here. So it's been my experience that generally I can get 1 or 2 steam plants going before I decide to do something else, just the way I work. Each one of them needs 30 of these, so that long. If we put the first one, say here, now I'm going to need power, and we'll just stretch that out to the left when I'm starting to build it. And we're going to need, oops, fuel out this way. So somewhere over here we need to start laying out our power plant. What I'd really like is for this to join up nicely, so let's actually commit to this. So that's where I want it. Right there. Okay. Flip that. Like that. Let's make this something tileable. Just like that. And oops, let's set this up. Now Snap to Grid Relative sets it up so that I can stripe this out horizontally. And the width I want is going to be 7, so that these power poles match up. And the height, I'm going to put 2 copies of it. So let's tile it on 28 so that it leaves 1. Let's do it on 30. That'll leave us a little space in between our power plants. So 1, 2, 3. There's 5. Oops. I think that's okay. That should give us a total of 20 boilers and 40 plants per side, 2 sides right there. And now we drop that in place. There we go. We've blueprinted the entire power plant. And that one power line there can mark the setter. Just for grins, I'm going to drop a radar right there. But for our first power plant, we're only doing 4 out of 10. So this will be 6 out of 15. So we're going to need that much. Now, I'm not sure where I'm going to anchor my power network. I know I like to have a nice rectangular grid. Now, I told Handy Hands to keep making this stuff, so it's going to make the next bit of the power plant. What do I want to turn off? Let's leave all of this on for now. There we go. So that's all laid out. At this point, I can put a little bit of coal in these guys. Oh, and I'm going to need water. And it has used up all of my pipe for other things. So for now, let's stop building those guys. So that's as close as I can put the water well. There we go. There's power. And Handy Hands is tooling up for us to build the second one. Now, as it turns out, 30 is actually overkill. If I do 14, that's 7 on a side, which is about half a belt. Let's keep it at 30. So if I look at our power grid, what I'd like to do is drop the power grid down to this horizontal line down here, the 0 point, and then have the power grid go across the top of it to provide for everything else. That'll start being our spine. So let's go back to the main base. Excuse me, Burner Town. Main base doesn't exist yet. And hopefully we'll have enough brick to run our 0 point all the way back. Because our next step, once Handy Hands is done with this, is doing some research. Part of Steam Power, always for me, is getting the labs done so that it can create the research. Let's actually set up Handy Hands to build that for us so it's ready to go when we're ready for it. I'm going to need 60 science packs, so I want to do those 2 researches. And I'm going to need 2 labs. So everybody should be saturated. Oh, brick is still going because it takes twice as much. So we are pretty much on time. Okay, we've used up quite a lot of iron plate and a little bit of copper. Let's harvest some iron. This is going to be 100 iron per. Do I have enough space for that? I don't have enough space for that. What if I pull just half of it? No, let's pull everything. There we go. There is no such thing as overkill. I did not set my research for automation packs. I think I'm going to do, since we're going to be thirsty for stone, there. So next time we come back, we'll be able to get 1,200 stone. Did I just drain that? There. Oh, and if we're going to start the second power plant, let's go ahead and build the wells for it. I'm going to go ahead and get both of them started because it's not that long into this where we start needing it. And as we see here, my path may not be sacred going through the iron. We'll see about that. I don't think I make use of this copper. I mean, I've got a whole lot to the right. Okay, so that gets me near. Let's bring it down from the far right. No, let's bring it down from the far left since I already have it there. And I'm going to make it so that the grid is based on the 0 point, not on where I happen to place the power. Later we can replace this with better power poles if we want. So there's power. And I was going to put a radar out here somewhere like that. Boom, there's our radar. Now, in a normal playthrough where you're doing everything minimal, I would put my labs down right next to the power station, let it come back later and pick them up. Not going to do that this time. Because the only reason I want to run all the way out to the labs would be if I am actively working. The only reason I want to run out to the power plant is if I'm actively working on the power plant. I'm going to run this all the way back to Burner Town, just in case we decide that we want to put something here like a radar. I don't know. I don't... Oh. That's cool. Let's go ahead and put a radar in here. Why not? Yeah, also, let's have Handy Hands keep some green chips in line so I can build things faster. Green chips, and let's keep some gears on hand as well. Okay, so I now have some radar in the burner base, in Burner Town, and I've got radar at the power plant, and the smelters are going to go in there. And let's put our science in where are we going to be spending most of our time? That'll be working. We're going to be working on the smelters and the stuff south of that for quite a while, and at some point we'll be shifting over to pull all of our science down. So let's put it kind of to the right of the iron there. I think I'm going to drop some power south of the center line and run it off that direction. Say here. So the things we want to research immediately are automation and logistics. And logistics is going to cost 20, and automation costs 10, so we only needed 30 of these guys. So I'm going to kill the rest of the request, and I'm going to put the 31 we made in, and that will be nice and healthy. And to round out the steam power part of this, I'm going to go drop down the second steam area, and I can stop the requests for boilers and steam engines. I still need a total of 16 of them. Not made those yet. And let's bring our, I'm going to put this let's head it north over. Can I do it here? If I head north from right where I'm standing, yeah, that's not so good. Let's put it to the left of the power here by just a little bit of a gap. Don't have the brick yet, but I can definitely set this up. Oh, that's too bad. Didn't realize I was going to bump into my water wells. Well, you know what you do is you relocate the water wells. Just like that. I don't believe in sacred paths, really, for what I do. I mean, there are people that do that, but even if they're not sacred, it's still good to have an unobstructed running area. Okay, so that's where I'm going to be putting stuff. And again, we want 6 of these on top and bottom. Okay, and that's all the research that we're going to be doing with the red research built in hand. No more research until we've automated properly. turn that off. We may need to build a couple of steam engines by hand here. I started laying them down before they were all built, so my count's wrong. Yep, we need 2 more. Oh, and we need some of these guys. So, we're going to add in, let's see, underground belt, I want 10 of those. And splitters, I also want 10 of those. So very modest numbers of those things. So now we have 28 megawatts, almost 29 megawatts of production, which should last us for quite a while. I am going to leave some open space to run through, just like that. And if I have balanced this right, when we get to where we're using all of our energy here, we should be using most of what this comes out to. I'm not entirely sure what the balance is. I remember it wasn't perfect. One of these isn't a perfect yellow belt. I think it's more than a half, though. So we'll see. Anyway, that should give us some margin. I'm going to run back to where we put down the science, pick it up, and we're going to call this a recording. Total time so far is 56 minutes in game. So I'm going to put a stake in it that this is about the 1 hour mark. So an hour in, and I've got automation and logistics all researched. Yay! Yeah, real slow. Not a speedrunner, did I mention? Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So what are we going to want for the next one? Well, we'll find out in the next one. What do we want to keep going here? I think we need to keep everything going. I'm going to bump my my furnaces up to 48 so I can have an entire belt worth of smelting furnaces ready to go. And actually, before I call it an episode, I will go refill my raw materials. So if I make a habit of ending the recordings with going back to refill, it makes it a lot easier for people to just click past that and see the meat of the next episode. So what I'll do is I will just run this out, pick up materials over here. We should have a lot of brick. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to carry coal back or not. It might be good to have some coal, put down smelters and get them running before I run the coal for the smelters, but that's going to be a one-time thing. And it might even be better if I simply always run the coal to the smelter first. Okay, so that picked up a lot of iron plate. Have to watch that. If I just control click over all the miners, it retrieves all of its fuel, and that's not what I really wanted. I don't know if I actually need to carry any stone on me, given... Oh, I need stone for stone furnaces. I am a fool. Let's pick those up real quick. I've got some stone to make some stone furnaces. I have materials to make other stuff. I am done with the power plant materials. Take them off the bar. Since I am making underground belts and pipes, let's make the underground pipes as well. And let's boost some of our quantities. These guys, I'm going to need quite a lot of them. I actually need 96 of these for a smelter, so let's start off with that. I'm going to need a lot more of this. Pipes I'm not going to need for a while, actually. Let's get rid of them. 48. I need enough of these to build smelters. And I think that's it. I could put down another one of these. Yeah, let's do that. There. I'm going to need that because a lot of the stone is going to be going to making smelters, furnaces actually, for the smelter area. So how are we doing for resources here? We've got a lot of everything. We don't have wood. Let's go chop some more wood real quick so we can get some more power poles. And I have gone way over the 1 hour time here. But that's okay. This is all just acquiring resources for the next part. This gets easier once I finish the steel axe. Unfortunately, steel axe research requires steel. It'll be a little while before we get there. It's not a high priority. So we have materials, we have things building, we have our priorities set. Let's make a couple of chutes as well. I'm not sure what I'm going to use those for, but they're very useful. They're basically inserters that move things faster and take no power. The version of those that runs at belt rate does require power. It's a little overpowered because it moves the entire belt. I can't see doing a mega base without that at this point. It's really kind of necessary. So if I were going to start my smelter on a nice even boundary here, let's show the grid again. I'm thinking this is a good place to anchor my smelter. Just like that. So the smelter will go just below and just to the right of this. In fact, let's set this up as a walkway. So the question is, do I want a walkway here that I'm going to be jumping over? Sure, why not? This is going to reserve about 30 units between the 0 point and this walkway that I think I can safely just say I'm reserving that for belt shenanigans. And this is the first ore that I'm going to erase. There. So we no longer have that coal that was right there. So this is all smelters. So let's put that on a tag. So for here, starting at this point, we're going to smelt resources from the north to the south, and we're going to add smelters off to the east. And that means I think this iron ore, we're going to mine from west to east here. This iron ore we will mine whichever direction we need to go to whatever the next thing to mine is. It seems a shame not to mine this guy. But notice the size is 213, 88, 13. So this is the bulk of my iron here. I may erase this guy, and this will be my fuel. So turn off the tile grid. If I set up my debug properly, turn off some of this stuff. Yeah, that way I can just turn on debug when I want to see this. It'll show a few extra things, but that's all right. What are we still making here? We are still making transport belts. I think we are making gears and circuits. What did I request on those? 100 gears, 100 circuits. We're almost there. Oh, and we can make assembling machines. So let's put that on the bar here. At this point, mining and smelting, well, we're not there yet. We're still working on mining and smelting. Episode next will be mining and smelting. After that, we're going to start working on assembling machines. So let's request in, get 20 of those going. And we can call it here at 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 35, call it 40 seconds. Clap.